Welcome back, gamers, and happy 2026. It's been way too long since I last uploaded, and thankfully we are back. We've got some exciting news about the Halloween game finally, and as soon as I saw this and read it, I was itching to make a video, just because I've been out of the loop. I gotta get back in the groove. But we finally got our first in-depth look and lore at some of the playable civilian characters for Halloween, and the seems like they're going to be called the Heroes of Haddonfield. Personally, a little corny of a name, but I'm sure it'll grow on me. That's fine. And I will say, you have a lot of the usual archetypes, stereotypes, whatever, but there's a few fun twists for some of these characters. I think the introductions here that we get for the main 5 characters are pretty great, because it you kind of get a little taste to see how the characters involved in Haddonfield, maybe see if they're related to other characters that will or will not be in the game, etc. My guess is, there's going to be some good tie-ins throughout, but we'll see. We'll see. And I'm not going to read you everything about, word for word about all the characters, but I kind of just want to highlight a couple of the big things about each of them and kind of discuss, a couple of my thoughts and see, how they could relate to the gameplay or the story. And also want to talk about Laurie and Loomis, because we kind of got a little bit more information about that, which I think is pretty cool. So the first character we're going to take a look at is Thomas Armitage. He's your stereotypical jock character, your Leland from TCM, your Bugsy from F13, football guy, etc., etc. Loves his family, courageous leader, all good things. Helps out his dad's furniture business, and that's going to be probably his tie-in right there, whether it's his dad or just the furniture business that we see in a playable map or through the story. I think that's going to be his tie-in. Then we have Jennifer Aarons, your smart, popular girl with a plan, who is maybe getting into some bad habits. She's kind of got a little bit different of the usual archetypes, so that's kind of neat. And she's a smart girl who desperately wants to get out of Haddonfield, but her mom, who I think is going to be her relative character, wants her to stay in Haddonfield. So we'll see how that plays in. Then we have Tanya Harrison, who loves Haddonfield. Unlike Jennifer, she's a chatty go-getter and a big social butterfly, has a great personality and a bit of a dark sense of humor. She also has some ties to Laurie Strode and Mr. Strode specifically, where he has once offered her a job for Strode Realty, but she turned it down to instead work at the local record store. So, who knows exactly how those tie-ins will be, whether it's, some direct interactions with Mr. Strode, Laurie potentially, maybe Strode Realty, we see some offices or something, or, maybe we just ignore all that and we see, the local record store, and we get to learn a little bit more about Tanya there. Then we have our final girl on the list, which is Rachel Calahan, and I'll be honest, this is the character I'm most excited about. Welcome back AJ from F13. We have the typical goth character who loves punk music. They're sarcastic, keeps to themselves a bit, and let's see, in the lore we see that she spends a lot of time at the library studying to become a mortician, which that's super neat. I don't know if I've ever seen a character who is aspiring to be a mortician before in a video game, so that's kind of fun. And then last but not least, we have Marcus Navarro, who is your lone wolf biker who likes to keep to himself, isn't a big fan of Haddonfield, and that's kind of his big shtick there, but he's known to frequent the Rabbit and Red Lounge, and he also loves his grandma Gloria, who he deeply cares about. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. We got, the 3 specific characters. They gave us like a named, or not necessarily a named character, but a direct character companion who they can work with. Tanya, it's not a family member, more so it is Mr. Strode. Rachel, we don't really get anything other than that she kind of hangs out the library, so I'm kind of curious to see what her potential character tie-in would be. Maybe it's like maybe she understudies at the morgue in town, and maybe it's the doctor there, who knows. And they also state in the article that these heroes are going to be in both the single player and multiplayer parts of the game, which I think is pretty cool. Initially we thought that maybe they'd be exclusive to multiplayer, but it does say they'll be involved in single player mode, And, it kind of makes me think that with that, we have these associated family member or another character they have some sort of relation to. And I'm going to guess that this will be maybe Michael's targets throughout the campaign, where, maybe Michael wants to get poor Grandma Gloria, or, he's going after someone, and, maybe we'll see the hero character kind of step in and have some relations with, Michael, Laurie, other characters. Loomis maybe talks to some of them, who knows. We'll see ultimately, but I feel like that maybe could be a fun little tie-in for there, and then that would work really well on the flip side with like the multiplayer side of the game, where rather than your Michael interaction with that, maybe we see that more where the heroes in the multiplayer side of things, where they're going to try and save their associated character. So I think that would be kind of a nice tie-in that would work well for both single and multiplayer there. And I will say, thanks to one of my tweets, we have kind of gotten some semi-confirmed news that there will be other additional characters who are going to interact with Michael. And what I would interpret from this is that it's in the multiplayer side of the game. And what other characters could it possibly be other than the obvious choices, which are Dr. Loomis, who we've already seen confirmed to be in the game. And then the big one that I think most people are curious or excited for would be Laurie Strode, obviously. It makes me wonder if maybe they'll have a similar mechanic to F13, where you say you do X objective and then Laurie and or Loomis can arrive at the scene. Who knows if they're playable or not, but this would kind of fill that Tommy Jarvis role, which a lot of people enjoyed. But yeah, I mean, playable or not playable, I think it'd be great to see Laurie in the game. I think it would be even better if we can, get our hands as Laurie, control her for a bit in the multiplayer side. And yeah, I think, that's a big thing players want, and I'm sure they're keeping that in their back pocket to reveal as, we get closer to the release of the game. But yeah, another theory I was kind of thinking of was, say you're playing as Marcus, you're helping Grandma Gloria escape from Michael, she's getting away to safety, and then at that point, maybe you can either choose to stay and help other players, or you can also escape. And I think this would maybe be kind of a neat interaction where, say you choose to escape as well with your grandma, maybe that's where you would come back as Laurie. Maybe you still have to fulfill some other objective to get Laurie to come back, whether it's, all 5 players have to do, all other players have to do something, or, who knows exactly what. But, then you come back as Laurie, and then you help everyone else. Or maybe on the flip side, say if you stick around after helping Grandma escape, then if you die, then maybe that's when you come back as either Laurie, or who knows, maybe that's when you come back as Loomis. And you get the gun, you shoot Michael, who knows. But I guess we'll just see more. But I think it's pretty cool that we got some good in-depth look at the lore of all these characters. And yeah, I think as we're officially less than 8 months away from release, hopefully they start to pick up more info on the game and share it with us, because it seems like people are itching to learn more and more. We did get a couple cool screenshots in the video flyover in November and December, kind of seeing a little bit more of the maps and atmospheres. I didn't make a video on that just because there wasn't a ton there, but we finally see our characters, and that's the exciting meat of the game. So pretty cool. I would love to see some gameplay. Who knows if they're doing another tech test like what has happened with TCM. I kind of feel like they probably won't do something like that, as this is more all on the phonics side of things, but who knows, maybe we'll be surprised. Nonetheless, the game is coming out September 8th of this year. Can't wait for that. And yeah, that's pretty much all I had for now. Just kind of want to talk about, the hero characters, give my thoughts. What do you think? What are you guys' thoughts on the 5 characters that we see here? Are you excited for them? Do you not like them at all? Do you hate them? I think personally they all look pretty good, and I appreciate, the different backstories and kind of that other character tie-ins. I think that's pretty neat. Hopefully they do something with that to, make it relevant, but if not, whatever, still fun backstory. So yeah, I think it'll be cool. Hopefully we see some good interactions, story, game, other characters, whatever, I think at this point, I'm just excited to learn more about the game. Can't wait for it to come out. I hope everyone else is excited. And yeah, that's all I got. Please consider subscribing if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.